Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. And today, the liberal funded, the liberal backing, admittedly controlled media wants you to be a gay, neurodivergent hockey player. The depths of their depravity and knows no bounds. So the first clip I have for you today is from the Canadian Conservative Convention that just happened in Calgary. I'll say that 3 times fast. And it's just a statement and referring to what was a direct quote from a media press briefing done by the liberal media.
Look, folks, regardless of whether you want to acknowledge or not, there is a love affair going on between the current media landscape in this country and the Liberal government of Canada, and we need to put a stop to that. Currently, this weekend, there was a summit of all media, and this is a direct quote from the stage. Prime Minister, we have your back just as we know you have ours. This is what is said by the mainstream media just yesterday. Further to that, the Minister of Heritage has said that the CBC is responsible for social cohesion. Folks, this is propaganda at its finest. It needs to stop.
Now, if you didn't believe that the liberal media was controlled by the liberal government and that they were in bed together, just listen to this clip, which was from the Canadian Media Summit in Ottawa, January 29, 2026.
The Prime Minister, know that every person in this room and the 180,000 people who work in this industry have your back, just as we know that you have ours.
Look at his smug little face. Look at this little weasel. And you will recognize that guy from the last interview we just watched with the culture minister. And Moose on the Loose says, this video has been scrubbed and trimmed on CPAC's website, trimmed on CPAC's YouTube channel. Only clip from the summit is Carney's speech. And I actually went to go double check this, and he is right. They have removed that piece from CPAC, almost like they're trying to hide it, that in this speech about liberal media being completely in bed with the liberal government. I wonder why. I wonder why. I don't know how this guy thought he had the audacity to say that on national television, but it is just outrageous, outrageous. And in what world is this okay? The media summit immediately after Mark Carney's speech openly admits that they are propping him up. They have his back because they know that Mark Carney has theirs. And just to provide further evidence to what she just spoke about in the direct quote she has, CPAC has actually tried to suppress a lot of the videos, so I had to go and find this full interview. And this is where our Minister of Culture, I believe, Pascal Saint-Onge, speaks about social cohesion and how the media has the main operative to control social cohesion in this country.
And yet, it seems, I certainly think to all of us in this room, it makes it all the more important that we are telling our own stories and sharing those with Canadians. And I just wanted to ask you, in terms of the impact of what we see on screen, how that shapes our society, our evolving culture, and how our cultural institutions and our industry here help support that.
It's fundamental to who we are. And it's why we're not American.
Oh, there it is. They have to slip in the anti-American rhetoric every single time. At least we're not American. That is the most pathetic morality system by any nation. At least we're not American.
It's why Canada is a country on its own, why it has its own cultural sovereignty. And I think that when we think about the sustainability of the movies and television sector or the music sector, we need to think about a few things. One of it is making sure that children and youth has access to Canadian content. If children and youth has access to Canadian content and is interested in that content at the youngest age, they will stay loyal to our cultural community. So it's really important that we invest in that future generation and that we're there for them. So that's one thing. The other thing, in my opinion, is that Canada has changed a lot in the past decades. We're now more than 40 million people. And Canada is going to continue to change. So what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're listening to in terms of music, in terms of television and music, needs to reflect the Canadian population, how it is today, and how it's going to be in the future. So,
Absolutely.
and this is what makes us Canadian. It's you guys that define who and what Canada is. It's the stories that we tell. It's the image. It's the reflection that we have on ourselves. It's the reflection about where we've been and where we're going, and our past and our present and our future. And this is what defines Canadians and what defines Canada. So this is why it's so important for us as a political party to be there and to sustain the industry. Because if we want to have social cohesion, if we want to have a good social climate, if we want to be able to coexist with all our differences and our diversity, we need to have common stories. And we need to share those cultural spaces, and television and screen and music. This is something that links us together in our diversity and our specificity. So there's so much to do, and I'm so excited about the future that's ahead of us.
And our Liberal Minister for Culture hits the 3 points on the head. They want to use your children, use propaganda against your children to promote their ideas of unlimited diversity. She said the 40 million people. So we've brought in 20 million people over the last 30 years at an unsustainable, untenable rate. And so to hide this, they need to promote social cohesion by infecting the youth with brainwashing them with these insidious liberal mindsets and just breaking down the social fabric that makes us Canadian. Canadians, Canada for the Canadians. And they say the quiet part out loud. And for this next little piece, we're just going to talk about CBC's new heavily promoted show, Heated Rivalry, and how this is it epitomizes the way that they use media, specifically TV shows and movies, to push their degenerate liberal mindset onto the youth.
Canada-Russia final showcasing the two most talked about prospects in the world. Canada's Shane Hollander and Russia's Ilya Rozanov.
Shane Hollander. Will you disappoint them?
No.
What is your room number? Is everything you dreamed of?
Come here. Listen. This is what they do. They use media. And do you know what? Do you know what bothers me most about this? They can't even leave the most Canadian grit, salt of the fucking earth thing that is left for Canada. The last thing we have a part of our culture is hockey, ice hockey. Now, these insidious liberals, these insidious, sick, degenerate liberals want to infect hockey with their homosexual agenda. Hockey is for the straight white men. How dare you try to take that away from us? That they're promoting, their degenerate, porn brain filled ideology of all these smut loving women. This is a book about smut, and it's literally being promoted on Crave by CBC, by all these left wing news agencies, and not promoted to adults. No. They're promoting it to the children, because as our culture minister says, that's who you have to speak to in order to control the cultural narrative that they want. And, of course, this book is a smut book wrote by Rachel Reed, who is writing this for women, young women and young men to read as smut. Again, promoting the gay liberal ideology. And then just look at some of the headlines that these media companies are promoting it with. The mere desires that make Heated Rivalry so addictive. Heated Rivalry inspired this hockey player in Minnesota, of all places. What is going on in Minnesota? For the love of God. Heated rivalry inspired me to come out as gay. Gay hockey drama. Heated rivalry becomes word of mouth in Russia, but you can go to jail. But fandom could lead to prison. Good. Meet the Saskatchewan behind heated rivalry's most intimate scenes. That's nice. Libraries offering unlimited heated rivalry audiobook access. Just promotion and promotion and promotion and promotion because they want desperately to become integrated with the culture of the youth. So that again, it's not in it is all incentivized to promote this liberal ideology from the top, from the liberal government that is utilizing these mainstream media sources to promote their ideology to the youth. Think about how insidious that is. All right, in summary, what we have is a liberal controlled media narrative that is self-admittedly in bed with the liberal government and having Carney's back because they know that he has their back, admittedly, by them. On top of that, we have a good example in heated rivalry of how this insidious mainstream media network promotes degenerate ideas, degenerate TV shows, and through other media to youth specifically, that is who they are targeting, in order to continue to push their liberal mindset through the generations and destroy our culture, destroy our country with unlimited diversity, elimination of Canadian culture for sake of unchecked diversity. And they do it through indoctrinating the youth and utilizing their connections to the liberal government. Anyway, another step in the death of the Federation of Canada, boys and girls. See you in the next one. Gay. We're not going to watch the gayness.